Hello students, welcome to the lecture. Today we are going to start with a new subject, that is financial management. This is the part of your subject that we have, okay? So we are going to start with this part today, that is financial management. It will come around 50 to 60 marks in your examination. So it's an important topic. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so it's an important topic to read with, and it's a very practical subject that you can say. It's a technical subject, so you need to have a full focus on this subject. The course content that you have in this particular section, we have chapter number 1, financial management. Then you have time value of money. Then we need to study capital budgeting, cost of capital, leverages, capital structure theory, working capital management, and source of finance. So this is the basic course that we have, and we have to complete with. And to begin with, first of all, I need to give my brief introduction of myself. I am CS Priyanka Srivastava. CS Priyanka Srivastava. I have done MBA, BBA, and obviously CS. Okay, I am working in a CA firm. Okay, so I have a practical experience of finance plus secretarial thing. Okay, so I have a complete knowledge of CS, CA and CMS syllabus, and I can teach you it in a practical manner, and I don't focus on a rectification kind of thing. I focus on basically to clear your concept in a better way. So if you will going to understand what is the way in which I will going to teach you. So I'm going to focus more on the concept thing than the rectification thing, and the things that we're going to cover will include two things. First, practical sums, practical concepts and sums. I will also give you some homeworks, okay, for which solution will also be provided, but my expectation is that you should solve it first, and if you are not clear with it, or just to verify that you have done right or wrong, just go through answer. The similar question we will take in the class as well, okay? And also we'll also focus on a theory part, because theory part will come around 30 to 40% of your paper out of 50 marks. So out of 50, if I do 30 to 40%, it can come in any range. So it will around 15 to 20 marks will come from theory part. So most of the classes that I used to study, and also that they don't focus on the theory part at all, but there is a bit focus that is required. They all taught that how to solve the sum and all the thing. Okay, but what is the concept behind it? What means if you have got any basic theory question like what is financial management, you should be able to answer that. It's not just like that a sum is given, you are just going to you are just able to solve it, that's it. It's not like that. It will not going to help you in future, because if you face any practical situation in the real life, you have to understand the concept, and then you will be able to solve the problems, okay? Because formula देख के तो कोई भी question solve कर सकता है. That is not a big thing to do, okay? So without wasting any further time, let me start straight away with our syllabus. So today we are going to start with chapter number 1. 1 second. First, we're going to start with the chapter number 1, that is financial management overview. Okay, so first of all, we'll understand what is the meaning of financial management, why we are studying the subject, and what all we need to understand to basically understand this subject in a better and a clear way. So we're going to complete the chapter first today. Let's start with it. So first of all, let us understand the meaning of financial management. So what do you mean by financial management? Financial management means managing of funds. So basically, to understand the concept, basically a company always needs funds, or you can say capital, or you can say finances, to run a business. Suppose if you have a company for, let's say, selling of burgers, McDonald's example. So the thing you need to sell the burgers is, first you'll need an shop, or you can say a place where you can open your restaurant. Second, you need chef. Okay. Then you need raw material. Then you need other waiters and workers. Okay. And etc. etc. You need many more things. So for all these things, what you need is the thing called money. So this is the thing which we called it as finances. So to get these finances, you need to do the financial management. And the finances doesn't just only mean to obtain fund. It also means to have a knowledge about from where you have to raise the fund, what will give you more benefit, what will be a less risky thing, what will be then how you are going to manage those funds in an appropriate way, in an optimized way, so that you will never be in the need of funds or shortage of funds, or there is no blockage of funds. So all these things, to avoid all these things, we need a financial management in any organization. So we need financial management for mota 2 things. Okay, we need financial management for 2 things. First, for procurement of funds, or you can say to raise funds, and to utilize fund in an effective manner. So these are the main objective of financial management. What the financial management does, it helps you in raising the fund, in finding out the technique, identifying the sources from where you can raise the fund, and in managing those funds for the purpose of which you have raised the funds. So let us understand what is written here. So it says, meaning of financial management. It says the primary task of a professional is to deal with management of funds. And it is an important aspect of the financial management in business undertaking or any other institution like hospital, art, society, and so on. We have understood this. According to Solomon, financial management is concerned with effective use of important economic resource called as capital funds. So basically, the thing is that even if you have raised the money, you should have the knowledge to use it effectively so that there is no blockage of fund. Okay, means the fund should not remain idle for too long, or there should not be a shortage of fund. There should be a balance of these two. Okay, now the Philippides basically has given the elaborated definition which says financial management is concerned with the managerial decision that results in acquisition and financing of short-term and long-term credit of the firms. So basically we got two things from this, that the finances are of two types: long-term and short-term. So long-term basically is used for the projects that we have. Suppose if any real estate company is there, so to invest in a project of construction of factory, so that is a long term, which is for generally more than 1 year. Okay, and what you mean by short-term finances? That is used for working capital. That is for operations of the company. Like raw material, purchasing stock, warehouse expenses for keeping your finished goods, like these. Okay, operating expenses like salary, wages. So for these, and these are generally the kind of capital which is like used for less than 1 year. Basically some investments are done by the company from where you can get the money within a 1 year. And in long term finances, you are raising finances from those sources where you have to repay them, or basically you will going to get a return for after a longer period of time. Okay. Now, thus it deals with the situation that requires selection of a specific problem of size and growth of enterprise. So, it is entirely depend upon the size of an enterprise that what kind of finance you will be looking up to. Okay, and the analysis of these decisions is based on expected inflow and outflow of the funds and their effect on managerial decision. So, basically, how you're going to take this decision, it will entirely dependent on expected inflow, that is incoming of the funds, whatever funds is coming to you, and outgoing of the fund, that is whatever outflow that you have, whatever expenses you have. Okay, so on the basis of this expected income and expenditure, these kind of decisions are being taken. And the most acceptable definition is given by S.C. Kuchal, which says financial management deals with procurement of funds and their effective utilization in the business. So that we have already understood. And so there are these are divided into two aspects. So first aspect we have is procurement of funds. That is how you are going to raise the fund. Okay. How to raise the funds. So to raise the funds, generally you have two options: to issue equity shares or to issue debentures. So that is equity or debt. Equity will give the people ownership. Here you need to pay the dividend out of profit, no tax reduction, losing ownership or control. Okay, so these are the general features that when you will going to issue the equity shares, and then you don't have to do the repayment, no repayment, unless company goes into winding up. Okay, now when you come to debenture, it's an interest bearing thing. Repayment is for sure. Repayment on maturity. Liability, even if there are losses, but still it is considered as less costly. It is considered as more costly. Okay. And what else we considered debt to be is it is more risky. One second. And it is less risky. So you can pause it and note it, and then we're going to read these two paragraphs that we have on this. Okay. Pause it and note it. Done. Okay. Let us read this. It says, as the funds can be obtained from different sources, their procurement, that is how to raise them, is a difficult problem, and these funds are procured from different sources. These are raised from different sources which have different features in terms of risk, control and cost. So how we're going to judge that which option is better and which is not, is basically in terms of by considering these three factors: risk, cost and control. So equity is less risky, debenture is more risky, cost of equity is greater than cost of debenture, control gets loosened while you issue equity shares, because as you rise the number of equity share, the public holding increases, which will reduce the ownership of the promoters of the company, and there is no such thing about any control in case of debentures. Okay, so while considering these three factors, we're going to decide that what option we need to choose. And these funds, the basic intention that we have, that we need to procure these funds at minimum cost, at balanced risk, and by considering control factors as well. Okay, so the funds raised through issue of equity shares are best from the risk point of view, because there is no repayment liability you have until the company goes into winding up. Okay, from the cost point of view, it is very expensive, because the dividend is charged out of profit, and you will not going to it is distributed from profit after tax. So you will not going to get the benefit of tax reduction. It will not be considered as expense under P&L account. So obviously it is more costly. Okay. And the issue of new equity share will also result in diluting the control of existing shareholders. Next is that debentures are comparatively cheaper, okay, because interest is paid out of profit before tax. So what happen is, we're going to do PBT minus profit before interest and tax minus interest, then you will get profit before tax, then tax is reduced, and then you will get profit after tax. So basically this interest will reduce your profit, so that which will help you in reducing your tax liability. Okay. But what happened for equity? Equity is given out of this amount. Okay. So the interest payment need to be made, but the only compulsion is that you need to pay interest in any case, even if the company is making losses. So you have a high degree of risk. So obviously you have pros and cons on both sides. But if you see the company's balance sheet, if you can take out any company's balance sheet, every company has equity share, every company has debentures. So it's not like that one is very wrong and one is very right. You need to keep the balance of these two in a most appropriate way. So how you have to keep the balance of these two, you will going to learn this in this subject. So that's why we are studying this. So in one day, in one lecture, you're not going to understand. You need to see the whole lectures for this. Each and every chapter we're going to give you the knowledge and understanding about that how these two things need to be kept in proportion to get a better capital structure. Okay. Capital structure, again, I have used the word. So let me tell you the brief meaning, short meaning of that. That is a mix of a balance of equity and debenture in the capital structure of the company. Okay. So the capital of the company should consist of these two things in a more balanced and appropriate way. Okay. Now, the next is this. In short, the procurement of funds will include first identification of source of finance. Okay. Next is determination of finance mix. That is debt equity ratio. That is what should be my debt equity ratio. Then how you're going to raise the funds. What kind of funds you are going to raise. Then division of profits between dividend and retention of profit. Every time when the company wants to distribute the dividend, the main question that arises in front of them is how much how much profit they need to distribute between shareholder and how much profit they should retain for the growth and the betterment of the company. Now the next part we have is effective utilization of the funds. So basically, we need to have an effective utilization so that neither the fund should remain idle nor it should lead to any blockages. Also, it should not lead to shortage of funds. So there should be a proper balance between that how much funds you need to keep, how well you need to utilize, so that all these three things should be avoided. So basically, finance manager is responsible for the effective utilization of fund, and he need to avoid the situation like where the funds are kept idle or where it's used improperly. Okay. And if the funds are not utilized in the manner, then it will generate an income higher than cost of procurement. Okay. And it is important consideration in the dividend decision also. So basically what it says that the financial implication of such decision to invest in fixed asset, and for this financial manager must have a sound knowledge of the capital budgeting. So basically to do these things, so to avoid these things, the financial manager should have the sound knowledge of the capital budgeting and should keep in view the adequate working capital requirements and what is the optimum level of working capital that they have, so that there is no blockage of funds in inventories, book debts, cash, etc. And fixed assets need to be financed from every company has fixed assets and current assets. I've already told that fixed assets generally need to be financed from long term, or you can say medium term finances, and current assets should be funded from short term finances. Okay. So basically this is done to avoid the blockage of fund, to avoid the shortage of fund. So this is the basic crux of this para. Okay. Now next is scope of financial management. Let me explain you this, okay? Now, what is the scope of financial management? That is how and where the financial management is used. So it is need to be used in every organization, even if it is a profit-oriented organization or not. Let me give you a simple example that basically suppose if a company has received a check. A company has received a check from its debtor, a check of rupees 1 lakh, and this company has a creditors of 1.5 lakh. So this company has suppose taken 1 week to deposit this into the bank. So obviously it is basically for this 1 week, this creditor will have charged an interest of, you can say, 5,000 rupees. So this 5,000 is basically charged because of the lack of awareness of the company. If the company has deposited this check on the very same day, then he would have saved this 5,000 rupees and immediately paid to its creditor, and only 50,000 balance would have left for that. Okay, so the interest that was basically charged for that 1 week will basically got reduced if that payment would have been done. So that is how the management of financials need to be done in order to become a cost effective thing. So suppose a very simple example, suppose if I need to open a factory or I need to open an kirana shop, okay, so a departmental store. So either I can lease the shop or I can buy the shop. So I need to make a decision between make or buy. So to give the decision between make or buy, I need to compare the two things, that is rent or the consideration to buy the asset. So this will be compared. A rent for 1 month will obviously not compared. It will compare that if I am taking a property on rent for a period of 10 years, and if I buy it, or obviously I'll be buying for forever, but I'll be considering 10 years here, then how much rent will I pay, and how, if I take a consideration, either I have money for that or I am taking it on loan, then I will be comparing how much interest I will be paying, how much money I will be in total paying to the bank. So after comparing these two things, in also considering the time value of money, the inflation rate that occurs, okay, so all these things need to be considered and then decided that I need to rent out basically the property or I need to buy the property. Okay, so or this kind of decision are taken in while purchasing certain machinery in the factories or also in these things. So basically what it says that financial management optimizes the output from given input of funds. Okay, and in a country like India where the resources are very less and the demands for funds are more, so proper technique need to be used to basically ensure that we can reduce the capital employed and we can improve the return on investment. And accordingly, the company needs to constantly basically take a decision with men versus machine, how to manage them properly and by considering the finances also. So now if you can see that everything is completely converted into electronic form. Slowly and gradually they are reducing the burden of labor, which is actually not good for the economy, but it is good for that particular company. So the company is taking that such a kind of hard decision to increase their finances, to basically better utilize their finances to reduce the cost. Okay. So this is due to the fact that there is a lack realization of the time value of money. This is the same example that I had given to you. Okay. Now next we're going to start with a topic that is objectives of financial management. That is what are the basic main objectives of financial management. So the main two objectives that we have is profit maximization and wealth maximization. Now I'm using these two terms here, profit and wealth. So we need to understand the meaning of these two terms. Then only we're going to understand that what is the profit, how we're going to maximize the profit, and how you're going to maximize the wealth. Okay. Profit means as simple as sales minus cost price, sales price minus cost price. That is your profit. So to increase that profit, you will increase the sales or you will reduce the cost. Your focus is just limited. But what is wealth maximization? Wealth means basically to find out the value of the company or value of the firm, which is equal to market price per share of the company into number of shares issued. So how this will going to increase? Because if the company is working in ethical manner, if the company is using optimum resources, optimum utilization of resources is done by the company, if economies of scales is basically taken care of. So basically if I talk about the profit, it is good in short run, it is good in short run. But wealth maximization is good in long run. Okay, so let us understand it with this, that the term profit is very vague and it will not clarify the exact meaning, and profit maximization will basically you can say higher the risk, higher the profit. Suppose if any company is very risky or a less credit rating company, that company, if they issue the debenture, they may offer you higher rate of interest. But if a company like LIC, you can see that their interest rates are very low because there is no risk involved. So higher the risk, higher the profit. Okay. So profit maximization will has to be attempted with the realization of risk involved. Okay, and it is an objective not taking into account the time pattern of return. It will not consider the time value of money. So basically, suppose if proposal X is giving you higher return than proposal Y, but proposal X is taking 10 years to give this return, and proposal Y is taking only 7 years to give the same return or the lesser return than proposal X. So if a person who is just considering about profit will not basically even look at the factor that he will going to wait for 3 more years if he going to accept the proposal X. So that is how the profit focus on. Okay, but when we come to wealth maximization concept, it looks on all the factor. It considers every factor that we have. Okay. Then profit maximization as an objective is basically very narrow. Okay, it fails to consider the social consideration. It will not consider the interest of any other person other than the company. Okay, it will not consider the interest of its employee, consumers, society, shareholders. They ignore all these factors, and it also ignored the fact that the company need to survive forever. Does not, you are not going to, you can earn profit even if you are doing some illegal thing, but that is not a right thing to do. But wealth maximization talks about that earning with ethics in an ethical manner, in a right manner, and also earning profit. So it considered the two factors, not only one. Okay, so I've already explained all these things. Then come to this point. Now, wealth maximization means value maximization, and value maximization, such kind of firm which has a value maximization objective is superior to the profit maximization perspective because of these reasons. First, this value maximization objective type of firm will consider all future cash flow, that what kind of cash flow and how much I will going to receive in future, that how much dividend I need to give, what will be my earning per share, risk of decision. Whereas the profit maximization basically puts an objective that it will not going to consider any of this factor. It will only going to consider the profits. Okay. And there are certain terms you might not be understanding right now, but we're going to understand in future. Like future cash flow means how much money you are going to get in the future income. Earning per share means like we'll calculate profit after tax. Then this will be divided by number of shares. Then you will get earning per share. Higher the earning per share, higher the value of the firm. Okay. Now, next is the firm that wishes to maximize the shareholder wealth may pay regular dividend. Okay. Whereas the firm with an objective of profit maximization will not want to pay the dividend. They want to retain the money as much as possible. But what shareholder prefer? Shareholder prefer to invest in a kind of firm which focus on wealth maximization and not on profit maximization. Okay. And the market price per share of the reflects that the shareholder expected return, and considering the long-term prospects of the firm, and it reflects the difference in timing of the returns, consider risk. So basically, the market price per share of a wealth maximization, value maximization objective kind of firm is more than those kind of firm whose objective is profit maximization, because shareholders also expect some kind of return. If they are investing in your company, obviously they need a certain kind of return from you also. Okay, from the company as well. Now the maximization of a firm value as reflected in the market price per share is viewed as a proper goal of the firm. So what should be the proper goal of the firm is to maximize the firm's value, to increase the market price per share. And profit maximization can be considered as a part of wealth maximization. It's like a three-idiot dialogue that if you focus on your knowledge, the success will follow you. If you chase the success, then you will not going to get it unless you are working on your knowledge. So to work on knowledge is your wealth maximization, and to run behind the marks is the profit maximization. But if your knowledge is good, if your concepts are clear, obviously you are going to earn more marks than other people. So that is on my goal is your wealth maximization and not profit maximization. Okay. Now next is conflicts in profit versus wealth maximization principle of the firm. So the company may pursue profit maximization goal, okay, but they will not result in the shareholder value. Okay, and profit maximization cannot be the sole objective of the company. It will not take you anywhere to the long run. It will only end up the company in the short run. But wealth maximization makes the company, help the company in utilizing the resources in the good manner. It will increase the share value. It will reduce the cost and use the resources, helps you to use the resources properly. If the company follows the goal of wealth maximization, the company will promote their policy and effective utilization of funds. So enough of this. We have understood it in a very good manner that what is the profit maximization, what is the wealth maximization, how these two conflict each other, and how the profit maximization follows when you are following the goal of wealth maximization. So what a company should follow is a wealth maximization and not the profit maximization. Okay. Now, next topic we have is what are the functions of finance manager. So all these work need to be done by the finance manager, that is generally a CA, CMA or MBA finance. The degrees I had mentioned you that who will be a finance manager. Okay. But what is the role of this finance manager? We're going to understand this. Functions of finance manager. So the functions of finance manager that we have, first of the basic function that we have studied is procurement and effective utilization of fund, or you can say management of funds. Also, his job is not of accountant job. Okay. Basically, this accountant job is basically to record the business transaction, to prepare the financial statement, okay, and to record various happening in the monetary terms. All these things are the work of an accountant, but accountant doesn't deal with the management of the fund. So let us see what is the function of the finance manager. So first is they need to estimate the requirement of the funds. I don't need to go into this and explain you what is return. Basically, they need to understand that how much amount of fund is required by the company. So the total estimate about the needs of fund is very crucial thing, because we need to avoid obviously the two things, blockage of funds. We don't want the funds blockage of fund. We don't want the funds to remain idle. We don't want the shortage of funds. We need to understand that whether we need it for a long-term perspective, from a short-term perspective, for a working capital needs, or for a long-term needs, for long-term project. So all these things need to be considered while estimating the requirement of the funds. Next is decision with respect to capital structure. I had already told you about this. That is, we need to have a proper mix of debt and equity in the capital structure. Debt does not only include the debenture, it also includes the long-term and short-term loans and advances taken from the banks, suppliers and other people. And then investment decisions. So suppose we have some idle funds or some huge funds a company is a big company, it has a huge fund, then a proper investment decision need to be done. That is where you can invest that fund you need to invest in a short-term basis or on a long-term basis. Okay, and what kind of return you are expecting out of it, what is the risk in those, what are the risks involved in those investment decisions. So all these things need to be considered. Okay, so we need to have an asset management policies for this, which will be regarding the item of current asset inventory policies. Okay, while keeping in mind the requirements of the production and future price estimates of the raw material. Okay, and so basically the technique that will going to help you in making this investment decision is capital budgeting. And also investment decision does not involve just doing an investment in a security or a fixed asset or something. It also talks about investing in any kind of project. So before investing in any kind of project, you need to have a proper understanding that how much return and how much time you are going to get. And will also consider the inflation factor, that the return you get is more than what the inflation rate is. So all these things need to be considered by the financial manager. And the next is dividend decision. That is how much dividend a company need to retain, how much dividend a company need to distribute, how much profit basically a company need to distribute, how much it need to be retained by the company. Obviously, dividend need to be distributed by the company at least once in a twice a year at least. But generally, though, it is paid by big companies in every year. But if it is not so much profit-making company, it's on a growth stage, So you need to give any kind of return to your equity shareholder if you want to make keep retained with you. So it is very important decision. Okay, it need to consider a large number of things. Okay, and you need to consider the amount that you need to be retained and the part you need to be paid. You should be paying to shareholders. Okay, what thing will be more profitable to you. Okay, so you need to keep in mind these decisions. Then next is supply of funds to all parts of organization or cash management. So every company has different organization, HR, marketing, okay, technical thing, operations. So all these functions need funds. So to distribute fund in a better way on doing the capital budgeting of each and every function is a very important you can say part of the job of the financial manager. Okay, next is evaluating financial performance. What it says that the management control system are usually based on the financial analysis. Then you need to do the financial analysis. They need to review the financial performance of various units of organization. So suppose these funds are basically distributed, then we need to consider that how much revenue you are generating from each and every part. Okay, how much they are contributed towards your organization. So what is the financial performance of the company? So it helps in assessing how the funds are utilized in various divisions and where you are lacking and where you can improve. Next is financial negotiation. That is, finance manager major time is utilized in carrying out negotiation with financial institutions like banks and public deposit. Basically, they going to negotiate on the terms of interest that is to be paid, the maturity date, all these things. Okay, to ensure that they are raising fund within the law, and a negotiation for outside financing often requires specialized skills. Okay. Now next is keeping in touch with stock exchange quotation and behavior of share prices. So it involves major trend. Basically, they need to put an eye on that major trend in the stock exchange. They need to judge how it is going to affect the share prices of the company's share. Next, we have this organization chart, function chart. We're going to understand this in next lecture. Right now, I'm going to end this lecture. Okay, in the next lecture, we're going to complete this particular chapter. So, till then, please revise this chapter till here before moving to our next lecture. And let me explain you one more thing, one more theory apart from this particular subject. That if you are studying from me, then you have one duty to revise lecture within 24 hours of watching. First thing. And second thing, to keep distractions out of the room, especially your mobile phones. Okay, till the time you are watching the lecture. So these are the two instructions from my side. Okay. And before watching the next lecture, you have to revise this lecture either on your book. If you have any confusion, you can watch this lecture once again. And if you have any query, you can like always mail to Superprofs. Okay, mail to us for that. So no worry for that. Okay. So please contact us if you have any question. Your query will be resolved within 24 hours. Okay. So nothing to worry. Please revise this lecture before moving toward next lecture. In next lecture, we're going to complete this chapter. Thank you.